Excellent, great. Well, welcome. It's great to see so many people here. Thank you all for coming. I want to start by welcoming the new students. I've had a chance to meet with a number of them, both when the MPA crowd came a little bit earlier and today with our new MAIR and EMPA students. But I want to welcome you all here now, and I want to welcome back the extraordinary faculty and staff of the Maxwell School. It's been a tremendous privilege for me and the family to be part of this community for the last year, and I'm glad to see you all here again. I want to begin also, as I welcome our new students this May, say a special word of thanks and appreciation to our active and former military serving people here, and thank you for your service. It's great to have so many of you in this community. Before I get started with my talk, I want to begin by introducing to you all, some of you will have met many of them before, our new faculty, the really exciting part of beginning a new year, many of whom are here today with us. I see Meryl Silverstein over there. Meryl, welcome. If you all could stand just so people can see who you are. Meryl is our new Cantor professor, and sociology in partnership with Falk College. Bob Christian, professor of practice in public affairs. Christy Buzard, assistant professor in economics. Christy. Natalie Koch and Jonelle Robinson from geography. Together, perfect, right? Jeff Gonda, history. Jeff, you here? Sort of new, Abby Steele. Abby, are you here? Abby, there you are. Abby was appointed last year, but is now joining us. Glad to have you here. Dan McDowell, political science. Dan. Don Dow. Don, did I see her? There you are. Right. And two other members of our faculty who couldn't be here today, but I just want to acknowledge Steve Smith, the new Bantle Chair professor, and Eleonora Patachini, professor in economics. So welcome to you all. It's great to have you as part of this community. As promised, I'm going to spend a few minutes today both reflecting on my first year here and talking about some of the opportunities and challenges I see going forward. This is addressed not just to the faculty, but to you new students as well, because you're fully part of our community. As many of you know, I've penned, and I use the word somewhat advisedly. It's a rather quaint metonymy these days, since we don't really do this much by pen, but a letter describing some of the great events of the past year, which most of you should have received by now. It's also be up on our website today. So I'm not going to repeat all the wonderful achievements and fantastic accomplishments of our faculty and staff, the books, the research, the teaching, the awards that have taken place over the last year. But it's a real tribute to the incredible contribution and productivity of this community that so much has been done, and really want to pay tribute to all of you for that. I've had the privilege of getting to know many of you over the past year. I wish I could say all of you, but it's been terrific for me, and I hope to continue and deepen that process in the months going ahead. It's really part of the special part of being a community is to know each other well and to understand each other's works and your goals, and I'm happy and appreciative of how much you've been able to share that with me over the past year. And that experience of the past year has really reinforced for me both the unique strengths of Maxwell that brought me here in the first place. It's also given me an added appreciation of the opportunities that we have here at Maxwell and the contribution that we can make from this very unique community going forward. Because I think what's so striking, and you really have to be here as you have been to experience and know it, is the unique blend of both diversity and community that the Maxwell School represents. We're a large institution. We have many different programs. We have a lot of people with a lot of different interests. But within that diversity, we also have this sense of community, kind of small version of e pluribus unum that brings us together and gives a sense of the Maxwell spirit and the Maxwell enterprise, which is quite a bit more than the sum of either the individual parts or the individual departments or programs or centers or institutes. This is a truly unique set of arrangements that we have here, and something that we have to cherish, something that we have to build on, and something that we have to make sure that the rest of the world can really appreciate and take advantage of. We cherish and develop a sense of intellectual rigor without intellectual dogmatism. We have a community that's both eclectic and interdisciplinary, yet recognizes that each of us pursues that in its own way, through its own sense of the individual contribution that we can make, by finding opportunities to work together and to collaborate, and appreciating the fact that even if we don't work together on common issues, that we're all part of a community where we can share ideas and appreciate each other's work. We have a range of missions, which are familiar in their broadest terms of teaching and research and public service. And we have a unique blend here, too, of bringing together both graduates and undergraduates, professionals and academic scholars, teachers, researchers, and practitioners. That makes for a very special community. But it also, of course, creates challenges and complications because we want to do everything well and we want to do everything. And we need both breadth and depth here at Maxwell because we have a broad mission. We teach undergraduates. We have a responsibility to make sure that they have an exposure to the range of ideas and experiences that are important to them while being able to provide for people going on to further professional education the kind of depth and rigor that will be expected of them in their careers. So we need to try to do this unique blend of everything well, and everything in depth. And of course, that's impossible. There are no free lunches, and we can't do it all. So we have to make choices, and we have to think about how we do that together. And in particular, it seems to me we have the challenge of how do we find synergies, how can we develop critical mass in areas that really can allow us to make a distinctive contribution. And one of the things that I've been grateful for over the past year is the opportunity to begin that conversation with all of you about how we should do that, where we should focus our energy, how we should make those choices. And that's a work in progress and something I hope over the course of this year to deepen our conversation about as we think about the path of Maxwell going forward. We have an extraordinarily productive faculty here, productive in the research output, productive in your teaching capacity. I'm especially grateful for the enormous contribution that so many of you make in that respect. It really does take time to do well. And one of the privileges I've had over the course of this year is to get a chance to sit in on some of your classes. And I'm really grateful for that. And I hope you'll indulge me more in this coming year because I love to hear how you're thinking about the problems and how you're trying to share your excitement and your energy with your students. And so one of my top priorities for this coming year and the years ahead is to find ways to reward you all, to the faculty, for the work that you do. It's a big challenge. There are a lot of other opportunities and career paths that people could take that are more financially rewarding. And you've done this not because of financial reward, but because of your commitment and compassion. But I think we have a responsibility to you to make sure that that's not totally a charitable contribution. And so I want to work with you all to find ways to make sure that that happens. I especially want to thank the leadership in the faculty here, to the department chairs, to the institute and center directors for the contribution that you make. This is an enormously important part of making this work. It's because it's such a big and diverse school. It's a challenge which I could never handle on my own, and I've leaned and relied very heavily on all of you, and you've made this year much easier for me because of your good counsel and your support. We have 2 new members of that leadership team, and I want to express appreciation to them as you come into these new positions, and thank those who've moved on to back to their academic and teaching work. But for all of you, the willingness to step up and do that really makes a huge difference to the life of this institution, and I am grateful for that, and I hope others share that appreciation. You don't get thanked a lot, I suspect, for these roles. As we think about these challenges and how we make these choices about the future, I think we have to think about not just the world as it is today, but the world that we're going into, and that's important for us, for those of us who are semi-permanent parts of this institution, but also for our work with our students here. Because as we deal with the challenges of today, we're also very vitally involved in helping to prepare the leaders of the future. And so we have to think hard about where the trend lines of history are going, where the opportunities will be, and how we can prepare in our own research and in our teaching to meet the challenges not just of today, but of tomorrow and the decades to come. And I think, and it won't surprise you all to hear this, that one of the core challenges that we face is to how to think about our work in the context of an increasingly globalized and interdependent world where borders are less meaningful, where new actors and new forces are at work in our societies, and how we can make sure that in everything that we do, in our teaching, in our research, and how we organize ourselves, that we embrace that globalized world. So, as you know, one of the things that I've spent some time on, and I've worked with a number of you on, is how do we build stronger global partnerships that can allow us to work with other academics and institutes and practitioners around the world to understand the common challenges that we face, to understand the diversity of the world that we're in, and how to do work together in a world where we have these deep interconnections. To increase the diversity of our own faculty and our own student body, to make sure that the experiences that we have here allow us to live day to day that sense of the globalized world. And I think we do a pretty good job of that if you just look around the room, and as I've been doing, meeting today with the new students, and to see the tremendous diversity in every dimension of our student body and our faculty, that's important. But having even more ties, bringing colleagues from abroad to here, giving you more opportunities to study, to research, and to teach in other institutions, I think is going to be a priority. And also to bring those perspectives here. And so one of the things that we'll be doing going forward, in addition to building these ties, is how to strengthen those perspectives in our work. And one of my personal priorities going forward is especially to strengthen our work in regional studies, which I think is critically important for Maxwell going forward. One of the most important searches we'll undertake this coming year is for a new senior faculty member on East Asia Studies. Look forward to working to strengthen our work in the Middle East with our new partnership with the American University in Cairo, but all around the world, because we can't afford just to do one or two, even if we may focus on some more than others. But it's not just regional studies, it's also understanding in our functional work that these interconnections, this broader community in which we live, is very important. And so I'm especially excited. We've just stood up, as you know, our new Aging Studies Institute. Thank you, Janet, for the work, and so many others have done for making that possible. But in bringing Merrill here, we have a scholar who's not only a leading scholar about the challenges of aging and intergenerational issues here in the United States, but in China and in other parts of the world. And that kind of model about thinking about how we think about the challenges in this interconnected world is so important. Many of you have been working with me to think about how we can increase our focus and work in metropolitan and urban studies. And again, the importance of understanding this not just through an American lens, but through an international, transnational, and a comparative lens. Issues like energy and the environment and sustainability, which need to be high on our agenda. Again, a reflection of that. And I think as we move into that world, that's what's going to help sustain our intellectual leadership and our attraction to future generations of leaders, to know that as they step into roles in that world, that we are going to have something to offer them to prepare them for that. But the other great feature of Maxwell that we need to embrace and build on for the future is embedded in our name. I think it's one of those things that you don't really appreciate till you actually begin to reflect on it, how important it is that citizenship is part of the Maxwell mission. And one of the things that's been very exciting, and I get no credit except to be along for the ride, is two of the most exciting initiatives that I've been part of during my first year, which really reflect that commitment to citizenship. First, our new signature major in civic engagement, which really reflects the Chancellor's commitment to scholarship and action, but also reflects the values that have dominated Maxwell since its inception. I want to thank Paul and others who've been involved in making that happen. I'm excited as we look forward this year as we prepare for the first class next year, because I think this is a way it can very vividly illustrate what we're about, and the idea of bringing rigorous scholarship, hard thinking, hard question asking to the task of making a difference in the real world in this community and others. And also what we've seen through the inaugural Tanner Lectures. And Grant, thank you for your work on that, and the fact that we've been able to begin a discourse here with students and faculty and the broader community about these issues of public values in our society. And I think it may be premature to officially announce it, but I think we're on track. Grant, I saw you here somewhere, to say it, to have Professor Michael Sandel here as our second Tanner Lecture. Professor Sandel, good friend, but I think one of the great voices in our, not just here in the United States, but around the world, for asking us the question about what is the public good. And I'm really excited about that, just being part of the continuation of the contribution that Maxwell can make in that regard. So as we think about going forward and the work that we do and the new faculty that we'll be recruiting with our new searches these years, these are kind of common themes that can help us think about how we get the synergies and the opportunities going forward, while recognizing that we do need to nurture this diversity and that we aren't going to have a single model for who we bring here or what we teach and what we research, and to embrace that idea that excellence, where we can find it, has its own virtue, and sometimes expertise and contributions in areas which aren't so self-evidently relevant to today's issues can also make as much of a contribution as stimulating public debate, of introspection and public discourse, as the more obviously contemporaneously connected. And that will be part two of how we think about our future going forward. It also means, as I said, that we need to think about our presence in a world beyond this quite wonderful part of the country, which we've gotten discovered, of central New York. And so in the coming year, we'll deepen our conversation that we began this spring about expanding our presence in Washington, D.C., about expanding our partnerships abroad to give both more opportunities for our students and our faculty to do research and activities and internships and work and the like abroad, but also to give more exposure to the work that we do here so that more people can know of the good work that we do. Without, I want to emphasize, lessening our commitment to this community, because I do think that we have a special responsibility in a university that has deep economic and social and political challenges to make a contribution right here in Syracuse and Onondaga County and the surrounding area. And I really appreciate so many of you who are both personally involved and professionally involved in working with this community and the kind of civic action projects and the outreach to the community that is so important. I am more convinced than ever before I came here that the world really does need what Maxwell has to offer. Well-educated and prepared students, cutting-edge research, cutting-edge and imaginative thinking that the Maxwell difference makes in the world. And so to you, our new students, you are our leaders of the future. We're going to be looking to you to assume that mantle of leadership, but we owe it to you and to the wider public that you will serve as you go on to your careers, to prepare you as best as we possibly can for the challenges, not just of today, but of the decades to come. And we, I think, owe it to ourselves and to you to remain in the process of perpetual self-reinvention, to remind ourselves of the best that we have, to seek ways to be even better in the future, to build on our experiences and to learn from yours as you come and join us, because our community, our nation, and the world are looking to us, and we are facing enormous challenges that we can make a contribution to. So I remain as excited today as the first day I arrived about being part of this community, and I look forward to working with you to see what we can do to address those challenges. It's a time of great debate here in the United States and abroad on the role of government, on the rights of citizens, of the stewardship of our planet, and the responsibility to future generations. To those of you who are new to us in joining the Maxwell community, you have a chance now to be part and to shape that conversation and influence the choices that are going to be made. So we hope that your time here will make you better prepared for that wonderful challenge that you have in front of you. Thanks for coming. I'll be happy to take questions, and then I look forward to meeting you all at the reception we've got planned just outside. I don't know if we have mics, but just raise your hand. And yes, we do. I don't see them, but yes, okay. Please, I know it's a large crowd, but you're not shy. Stunned silence. All right, I won't force you. One last chance. Going once, going twice. Well, again, thank you. It's really great to see so many people here. I know it's hard to get this part of your schedule. Everybody's got a lot going on, but I'm grateful for you coming to listen to what I have to say, and I look forward, and I hope that you'll share your thoughts with me about the letter, about my remarks today, and your own hopes and aspirations for Maxwell in any form you want to do it. So thanks, and let's all go outside and enjoy.